Hey guys, Doug Giles here. Warriors, Rich!
Doug Giles and Wildmen. What's happening, man?
Courage, character, and loyalty. That's all. That's all we're peddling here. You know, we could peddle irresponsibility and blame shifting and rank dysfunction, but we'll leave that for the other podcasters, in particular, CNN.
That one would be called Warriors and other things. So anyway, Warriors and Wildmen. We're not here to talk about that garbage.
You know, we should pretend to be like liberal dudes, like hipsters, and we could start another podcast called Whiners and Mild Men. Pure gold, man. Pure gold.
I like it.
This stuff tumbles out of my brain, Rich, on a regular basis.
You're just flowing and blowing and going.
And that's why they give me the big money, man. That's right. Why the big drachmas come my direction. Hey, Rich, we want to talk about something that I believe the guy's name's Brad, who follows us over at Warriors and Wild Men.
Brad, shout out, Brad.
Yeah. Do you know Brad?
No, I don't. Just from Facebook. Just from Warriors and Wild Men.
He's a great cat, man. You know, first of all, he likes us, likes the podcast. So
that says something about his character.
I'm a fan immediately. Secondly, I think he pointed out something that's hugely important in wake of the Parkland High School massacre down there in South Florida. And I don't hear CNN discussing this. I see everybody rush to change the Constitution. Oh, hey, Rich, I don't know if you know this or not, but you know those Parkland High School teenagers that are traumatized, that are being foisted upon our collective, and we're being told that we've got to listen to these kids in regards to our constitutional rights and our civil liberties. You know those guys, right? Hey, look, again, I can't imagine going through what they went through. But, you know, at the end of the day, these kids are teenagers. We do have a constitution. We should be run by reality instead of emotion. And we're about to put up on ClashDaily.com that Planned Parenthood and MoveOn.org and some other humongous radical leftist organization, well, guess what, Rich? They're funding their anti-Second Amendment crusade. And I find it...
let me throw this out there, Doug. Let's just throw some common sense out there and get rolling right off the bat. Okay, let me just say this. If you think it's okay to walk out and stage protests and say kids' lives are important, how could you turn around and drag babies out of the womb? Ram a pair of scissors in the base of their skull, stick a suction cup in there, collapse their skull, and drag them out so that they're technically born dead, and then call that an abortion, and then we're supposed to be good with that? And then we'll say, hey, aren't our kids are important? Hey, guess what? If kids are important because they can't defend themselves, how much more important are babies? Are you out of your ever-loving minds? The problem is that these people are godless. They're wicked. I swear, Doug, they could sit and focus as hard as they can, and they can come up with the exact wrong answer every single time because they start with man. They don't start with God. It's a bunch of humanistic garbage based on emotionalism, and all these dudes are acting like women. Anyway, I was ready to do the whole podcast right now.
Well, again, you know, it's never lost on the left to trade in quadruple standards here. And you pointed out rightly, you know, here Planned Parenthood's like, we cannot allow these children over here to be harmed in schools any longer. Well, Planned Parenthood, hello, Planned Parenthood, are you there? Hey, it's Doug and Rich. You're talking about innocent children being harmed in schools? Well, what about innocent children being harmed in the womb?
Hey, Doug, you know what we need to do? This is their plan.
You know
we need
Kamala
to change
Harris too, don't you?
We need to change the law from being 18-year-old to buy a rifle to 21. But we want to make sure that a 14-year-old without parental consent can still get an abortion, because that's important.
Yeah.
Because we're protecting children.
Yeah.
Because 14-year-olds, a 14-year-old can't even decide where they want to go eat. Are you out of your mind?
But you got to kill the babies, according to the left, man. But never, Rich, never, ever kill a whooping crane egg. Don't ever, like if you're out in like Alaska and you and Annie are doing like some Royal Caribbean Alaskan cruise, and you kind of get off the beaten path and you get a little peckish and like, hey man, I'm a little hungry. And Annie's like, well, hey, I got a can of Sterno and a lighter. See if you can find something to eat. And then you just tumble onto some like whooping crane eggs, and you're like cracking them open, scrambling them up, and eating it.
Or an eagle egg.
You'll go to prison for doing that. But to take a baby and suck it through a vacuum cleaner that's been retrofitted with razor blades, well, that's great if you're a leftist. It's unbelievable. But and another point. What's her name? Liberal chick, Kamala Harris. She's talking about Trump. You know, he's a lunatic if he won't, protect our very vulnerable, our children. It's like, Kamala again. Hey, babe. Tick tick tick. Girl, hello. Are you in there? You support abortion all the way up into. What's the third trimester?
Yep.
What do you think that kid is in there? Huh?
Well, if it's an eagle, Doug, it's an unborn eaglet. But if it's a person, well, it's just a clump of cells.
Well, here's something else that I find interesting is that it's not a baby if you abort it, but if you kill a woman who's pregnant, it's a double homicide.
That's Old Testament right there, baby.
It's just.
But then again.
Anyway.
Doug, we're talking about common sense, and we're not allowed to use that anymore. Because you know why? Nobody speaks that language anymore, Doug. Nobody in this generation speaks that language. Let's talk about why.
Yeah, I guarantee what's lost on the left is not lost on the Warriors and Wildmen subscriber and listener. And so anyway, Brad brought up a great topic, sent us a message over on that thing called Facebook that Zuckerberg secretly spies on us with. But while everybody's off rushing, Rich, to rewrite the Constitution, while everybody's ready, I don't know if you saw it today, but Dick's Sporting Goods store is no longer going to sell the AR-15. While everybody's ready to rewrite the Constitution, hand in our civil liberties, get rid of our AR-15, never going to happen with me. I'm
it might happen with me, Doug. You know why? Because every time they do this, no laws are ever changed. The prices of guns go way up. I always sell a couple and then wait till the prices come down. Boom, trade.
Everybody's looking to do the pin the tail on the donkey in regards to blame. And Brad sent us over a great article, man.
Yeah, he did.
This article says, okay, first and foremost, here on Warriors and Wildmen, we trade in reality. And Nicholas Cruz, no matter how twisted and fragmented that dumb bastard is, and whatever other causalities are behind, his act of taking, 17 people's lives, it's his and his alone responsibility. Okay, I want to make that clear. Okay, it's Nicholas Cruz. He, of his own volition, pointed that gun and shot those people. So it's completely, pretty much on him. However, the Broward County Sheriff's Office, they dropped the ball. The FBI dropped the ball, as we discussed. The therapeutic community dropped the ball because they could have had that son of a bitch Baker acted, and then his weapons would be removed from him. But you know what, Rich? You know who really dropped the ball on little Nicholas? Mom and Dad. That's who dropped the ball.
Boom.
Mom and Dad. And this article we have up on clashdaily.com, let's see what's the title of it. Dear CNN, here's a key commonality of all the school shooters. Why won't you address it? We point out that the last stack of school shooters, Rich, either dad wasn't in the house, come from a radical divorce, or he had passed away. And we're talking from Adam Lanza to Carl Pearson to who else out there that's fatherless. Several of these, again, this is social scientific evidence, is that there's a big connection between violence and broken homes. And with the school shooters that have appeared on the scene recently, it couldn't be more clear that these kids didn't have some dad in the house telling them right from wrong and appropriately kicking their butt when need be, and being a source of guidance, wisdom, and encouragement. Dad was gone, man. Gone.
Well, listen to this. This is from Daily Wire. They had posted this, and it says, writing at the Federalist in 2015, Peter Hasson highlighted the fact that all of the shootings on CNN's 27 deadliest mass shootings in U.S. history list, committed by young males since 2005, only one was raised by his biological father. Out of 27, dude.
Yeah.
What the heck? That how can people miss that?
Yeah. Well, nowadays, especially when we were down in Miami, it was so cool to do, Rich, if you're a girl. I mean, because Halle Berry did it, is have kids out of wedlock. It's so cool. I want one. I want to carry one around with me, kind of like a chihuahua.
Like a chihuahua in the
dress
purse.
It up, put a cell phone around its neck, Oh, it's so cool. Listen, that kid detached from a dad who gives a blank is probably going to become, especially if it's a daughter. I did insane research on this for Raising Righteous and Rowdy Girls. Man, you want to talk about jacking up your kids? And this goes completely contrary to what Rosie O'Donnell and all the other sassy, oh so sassy feminists say, Rich, is that if you remove a good dad from that equation, then, oh my God, is some bad crap going to start tumbling their direction. Check this out. Toddlers who are securely attached to their dads are better at solving problems. That's not just, old right-wing Doug saying that. That's clinical psychologists. That's Centers for Disease Control. It's like, if they got a daddy in the house and he's a funky bottom line bass note, a rudder to that family, then you know what? That kid is not nuttier than a squirrel turd. They're better at solving problems.
Yep.
6 months old, Rich, scored higher on tests on mental development when their dads were involved in their lives.
Wow.
Yeah, we're not talking about, you being like some dad that Oprah parlays. It's just a dad being a dad and showing up. It's, I believe, Rich, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm super dad. I love the thought of super dads, but I think I'm just an okay dad who frickin' was there all the time. Instead of the guy who does, I spend quality time.
Well, no, the reality is
quantity.
That
it's quantity.
A good dad in the picture is going to provide security and confidence for kids. When kids feel safe, when they feel confident, guess what? Their minds turn to creativity and learning. And that's basic psychology, man. That's not, you don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to go be Freud to figure that garbage out. You know what I mean? When you have a home where the dad is present, the kids feel safer. They feel more confident. I'm talking about a good dad. I'm not talking about like a junky dad, but you got a dad in there that's doing it, helps the kids to learn. They can focus on the things that are important. They don't have to sit there and focus on survival. Come on, that's common sense again.
Yeah, with dads in the house, kids manage school stress better. Dad comes in, calms the storm, man. Calms the storm. We're going to get through it. We're going to press through. I'll help you. What do we need to do? That kind of stuff. Girls who are close to their fathers exhibited less anxiety and withdrawn behaviors.
Yep.
I know from personal experience, yes, that's true. And secondly, if they know martial arts, boom, the confidence levels go through the roof. They don't have those withdrawn, bizarre, freakish, cutting, anorexic type behaviors, and that's just the presence of masculinity in their life. Suck on that, feminists.
Well, let's talk about how serious it is in America, though. 33%, estimated 24.7 million children live absent of their biological fathers. 33%. Dude, this is not getting better. This isn't going away. It's getting worse.
Yeah, and like we talked about, and I can't remember what podcast, it's all a blur to me now, but when we grew up, man, as young whippersnappers back in our day, as a couple of old fuddy-duddies, our parents didn't have any problems with us taking guns to school. We got in fights, we got drunk, we did drugs. But you know what? We had, again, this fear of dad and fear of culture.
Oh yeah.
That we pushed, things to a certain extent, and then we started backpedaling a wee bit because we knew that our dad and our authority figures at school and our uncles and our buddies' parents would beat the living crap out of us if we went to the extreme, shall we?
Hey, the first time I got arrested, it was curfew violation. wasn't like some crazy thing or something, but I got arrested. They took me down to, it was, I think 16. And they said,
so you don't have a mugshot then. Damn it.
Well, they said, well, I actually do have mugshot that came later.
You got it?
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know, man.
You ought to use that for Facebook profile pic, man. Get rid of that picture.
Man, you know what
Annie,
sucked? When I
put that picture up there, man.
When I got arrested, when I got my mugshot, I had my lucky $2 bill in my pocket, which I guess is not that lucky. But I said, hey, I want that back. They said, oh, we'll give it back to you. Don't worry. They gave me a $2 check from the Department of Corrections. I was like, I'm not cashing that. I threw it away. I want my lucky $2 bill.
You should have kept it and framed that one also, man. You're throwing away gold. You're throwing away gold.
When I got arrested, I was in there with my other friends and stuff, and they said, we called your dad. He's on the way. I said, oof. Can you put me in that little cell right there? They have the little one-man cell where you stand up and maybe sit down, And he goes, is it going to be that bad? And I told the cop, you might want to get in the other one. And he was like, what? Anyway, my dad came, my mom and dad, it was 3 or 4 in the morning. My dad's like, my dad says, start walking to the car. Boy, don't look back. And I'm walking, I probably weigh 135 pounds. My dad kicked me in the butthole with cowboy boots on.
Yeah.
Doug, not in the, I don't think he was aiming for it, but I'm going to tell you what.
Connected.
He kicked me so hard that my feet came off the ground. Oof. And tears were running down my face. And my dad said, well, you got to be up in 2 hours for work at 6. And don't think you're calling in sick.
That's great, man.
That's what dads do. They put the fear of God in you.
Yeah, and speaking about arrests, I got arrested on Mother's Day when I was 16 for stealing water skis.
That's a great gift to your mom. That's a great gift to your mom, Doug.
Oh, my God.
Well done.
You're talking about my poor parents. That's why when I got converted, it's like, look, I will do whatever you ask me to from here on out. And you know what? You're never going to have to pay for anything. I'm going to buy you dinner. I'm going to take you fishing. Going to take you hunting. Because the crap that I dealt out to you for 21 years, and you didn't fillet me and feed me to like wild pigs on like a Hannibal Lecter type death, is nothing short of merciful, extreme patience, grace, and amazement. So yeah, her face.
The day I got converted, I called my mom that night. I got saved that night. I called my mom sobbing. I almost couldn't even talk on the phone because I was so sorry for the things that I put my parents through.
Exactly. And, there's a lot of Christians out there, supposed Christian, young people, who treat their parents like shit. And I think that if you are truly converted, Rich, I could be wrong. The whole honor thy father and mother still ought to be, something that you hold to. Instead of being a smart aleck, instead of telling them off. These parents, man, I'll tell you, they love you, and if they've paid for everything that you've got, and whether they're Christians or not, you ought to show them nothing but absolute honor and respect, period.
Absolutely.
And I think, Rich, say that,
But Doug, they're not even there. But the dads aren't even there.
Right.
Well, and we're not trying to throw the dads under the bus. What are you supposed to do? The dads aren't there.
No, the guys need to be thrown under the bus, though. Like Chris Rock, he was talking the other day. Well, one of the other days, several years ago. He's talking about parents and fathers not doing the job. And he said that this one dude came up to him and he goes, "Hey, man," he goes, "I take care of my kids." And Chris Rock's like, "You looking for a prize? You looking for a reward? You're not getting one from me. That's what you're supposed to do, you moron." Yeah, and nowadays, it seems as if you're doing something, extra special. And listen, if you bring a kid into this world, sir, then it's your damn job to make certain that he doesn't turn into Nicholas Cruz or Rosie O'Donnell or somebody else that is a punitive addition to this human equation. That's your job for the next 20 years. If not, if you don't want to do that, go get sterilized, please. Rich, we ought to
check
have
this out. This is something
the
to
Brady
think
bill.
about.
The Brady bill where there's a 5-day waiting period. We ought to have a Brady Bunch bill that proves that whoever wants to have kids, that they've got their crap together. And like I said, they're going to raise him or her not to be a pain on America, but be a productive citizen in the age of guilt manipulators. Boom.
Well, check this out. 63% of youth suicides are from fatherless homes, 5 times the national average. 63%. Yeah. 90% of all homes and runaway children are from fatherless homes, 32 times the national average. 85% of all children who show behavior disorders come from fatherless homes, 20 times the national average. That's from Center for Disease Control. Like you said, these aren't statistics that we're pulling out of cyberspace.
Fox News, you know.
Yeah, this is the real stuff, man. Check this out. 71% of all high school dropouts come from fatherless homes, 9 times the national average. 9 times.
But
you want to know why, Doug? Because
we've been told, Rich,
when they live with the dad says, I don't care if you're sick. Get up and be sick at school. Right. You know what I'm saying?
50% of the other kids have pneumonia and disease, so you might as well go join that leper colony. Look at this with girls. The likelihood that daughters engage in premarital sex, drug use, and alcohol spikes when dad's not around. Also, and obviously it also plummets when dad's in their life. Girls with doting fathers are more assertive. Yeah.
It's good.
They're not
more confident.
They're not bashful. They're not like scared. They're not like wallflowers. They're like alpha chicks kicking butt and taking names in life. And they get that from the old man. Not saying again that the wife, the mom doesn't contribute at all. But man, I'm telling you, a lot of these positive characteristics that we're talking about comes from the toxic masculine male, according to the feminists.
I want to get on that. Listen to this. 75% of all adolescent patients in chemical abuse centers come from fatherless homes. 75%, Doug. 3 out of 4 are from fatherless. Now, check this out. This is what's crazy, because you just said toxic masculinity. So we have a school shooting. We have somebody that loses his ever-loving mind, right? He goes in and does something that's horrendous. Nobody can even, it's heinous. Like, we can't even imagine somebody doing something like that, right? And then their answer, like I said, it's the left or the liberals or the godless. I don't even care. I'm not talking about politics. The anti-God, trash, idiot, humanist mother effers can come up with the wrong answer. Their answer is the problem is toxic masculinity equals men. The problem is men. Yeah. No, the problem is the exact opposite, you stupid freaking idiots. The problem is a lack of men. And what you call toxic masculinity, no, good masculinity is something that teaches kids. You know what? Kids that are raised in a home without their father are more prone to violence. You want to know why, Doug? You know what my dad taught me? My dad taught me to be violent. And people say, well, that's terrible. That's the exact opposite. That's toxic masculinity. And then my dad taught me this. A real man is a man who's under control at all times. You always keep yourself under control at all times. My dad hardly ever drank. You know why he hardly ever drank, Doug? Because he said, because if it goes down, I want to be the one in control. And hey, man, you could like it, you could whatever, but we ain't out shooting up schools. You know what I'm saying? And they're saying that's the problem. No, the problem is there are no men there. And these boys are being raised by women who tell them it's okay to cry like a little girl. It's okay to not be disciplined emotionally and be strong. It's okay to be godless and spoiled and have whatever you want. I know this dude, Doug. His parents were divorced. Him and his mom had the same dope dealer. They smoke weed, and they wonder why their son grew up to be a freaking idiot. You know why? Yeah. Because you're an idiot. You are the stupidest person alive. Why are we even having this conversation? The fact that we have to record a podcast on this is pissing me off right now because it's stupid. Everybody should be able to look at it and say, no dads in the home. We're making dads look stupid. They're not taking their place in society. This is the results we get. We need to go back to the way it used to be. And
I'll tell you what,
we even have to talk about it.
I tell you what, man, if Nicholas Cruz happened to be Nicholas Giles, and I started seeing, him give me that kind of crazy, Ban Roland Glaze 1,000-yard stare when he's like 8, and I caught him, pulling the legs off bunny rabbits and laughing.
All the things that are precursors to being a sociopath.
If I started seeing, man, this thing's a little bent, it's a little twisted, then you know what? I would wade in there with a 36-inch Louisville Slugger and appropriately tap him back into place. And you know what else I'd do? If I saw that, his glide path was firmly and furtively in the demented realm, and that an exorcist wasn't going to be able to cast out these devils.
That's what I say. I'll grab him by the face first thing in Jesus' name. Say, come on out of there, boy.
Okay, say that it doesn't work. I'm just still trying to track. What would I do with this kid? I'm going to take him to Shady Acres, man. I'm going to take him to Shady Acres.
That's right.
Psycho Ben. I'm going to ask them. Scrape his frontal lobe. He's not going to turn. But I'm not going to sit there and just say, oh, here's some drugs.
Let's put him in public school and give him an AR-15 because that makes sense.
Here's an arsenal, and go over there to that school that's going to completely ridicule you because you're such a twisted monkey. And
he is
see
twisted.
What happens. What do you think is going to happen? Yeah.
Hey, Doug, and then how about this? And then here's everybody's answer. Let's take guns away from Rich.
Right.
I haven't killed anyone.
And let's
I told somebody the other day, I could have an anti-aircraft missile battery in my backyard. The same amount of people would die as have died from me already. 0. It doesn't matter what guns I have. I'm not crazy. And you know what? Crazy is not dependent on guns.
Going back to the column, Rich, that Brad sent over, I think it's huge. CNN, lefties, your liberal aunt with the mustache. You guys want to talk about what can we do? We need to do something. We need to do something. And again, their answer, just like you said, Rich, is to go straight back to us and try to de-arm us. The left proposed legislation yesterday that would completely ban not only the AR-15, but all semi-automatic rifles, shotguns, etc.
Stupid.
Yeah, which again, there's a lot of geese and duck hunters.
It's not gonna
happen. My first rifle was a Ruger 1022. It had a 10-shot rotary magazine, high capacity assault weapon, Rich, and all we did was shoot tin cans, some squirrels, and some jackrabbits in West Texas. But now, according to these wizards, it's going to be put on the side of the ledger on the. on the same realm as a quote unquote, fully automatic weapon.
Well, yeah, I had a 20 gauge Remington pump shotgun at 12 years old. Yeah. And it came out when we went dove hunting. The dove were not safe. People were very safe. Even the people standing around were safe.
Yeah, because we were, again, raised by fathers who had their crap together.
My brother swung the shotgun one time we were hunting. He swung the shotgun towards me. Oof. And I think he was probably 12 or 13. And I hit the ground and covered my ears. He was over me. But when I saw the gun coming, I didn't want to hear the blast. So I dropped down and covered my ears. And then there was some commotion, and I looked up, and my dad has the gun in his hand, and my brother's laying on the ground holding his face.
Yeah.
I guess my brother swung that gun, and right as he shot it, my dad smacked him across the face and took that gun and said, go sit in the truck. My brother literally sat in the truck the rest of the day while we hunted. We never had an incident like that again. Again, my brother was later in the Army and everything, and he's, I don't know, 82nd Airborne, all that stuff. But you have to learn that stuff.
Yeah, no. My little grandson Hamish, we've got a bug assault. I don't know if you've seen these, but you load it up with salt, you rack a nice round of air, and then you just wait for mosquitoes, moths, flies to rock up, and then you just boom, hit them. And he was wielding it the other day. He's walking around, and he wasn't pointing it like I'm going to shoot you. He just unknowingly, unwittingly, had it pointed in at a person, and immediately, lovingly, it's like, Hamish, don't point that gun at anybody. You keep that barrel down. You keep that thing straight up. You make certain that thing never goes at a human being. Again, that's what a dad or a granddad.
That's toxic masculinity, Doug.
That's toxic.
That's
Rich.
toxic.
Toxic.
Wait. What's Doug? Give me an idea of the definition of toxic. Can you, real quick?
Poisonous, deadly, something like that.
So dads in the home apparently are the opposite of toxic.
Yeah, I'm looking at
their
right
answers
here.
are toxic. Our answers are anti-toxic. Like Come on, man. We got the solution. It's the Bible. It's the Word of God.
Hey, check
man. We
this
need
out.
the dads in the home.
Rich, girls with toxic fathers involved in their lives have higher quantitative and verbal skills and higher intellectual functioning.
There you go.
Girls with decent dads are less likely to flaunt themselves to seek male attention.
Yep.
Fathers help daughters to be more competent, more achievement-oriented, more successful. Girls with involved fathers wait longer to initiate sex and have lower rates of teen pregnancies. Teen girls who live with both parents are 3 times less likely to lose their virginity before their 16th birthday. And
That's a big deal.
Oh, it's huge. And this is interesting too, man, is that girls with good dads in the house will probably, according to, again, these statistics, will outlive their dadless peers by 4 years.
Wow. That's a big deal. It doesn't sound like a big deal, I guess, if you're like 20, but when you start getting to be like 70, you start thinking 4 years is a long time.
97% of girls who said they could talk to their dad had lower teen pregnancy rates.
Wow.
So I think the jury's in, big dog. I think the jury is in that if the left, Rich, if they want to find out why this happened and what we can do, is word to the Warrior and Wildmen listener. Hey, if you got a kid, then you know what, sir, Mr. Male, could be a man, I don't know. Whoever you are, if you've got a penis and you got a kid, then it's your job, damn it, to make certain that that kid doesn't turn into Nicholas Cruz, doesn't turn into a pirate hooker. And you can do that by just lovingly being there and not blowing them off for, your mistress or for social media or for your buddies or any other crap. Just be there with your kid. It's a quick 20 years. You can never repeat it. And the ramifications, as Rich and I have been discussing, could be deadly, could be detrimental. And the odds are completely stacked against your kid if you remove yourself from the equation. Yep. And Rich, I got to hand it over to you for the final rant.
I'm going to post a link on this podcast on our Facebook page, Warriors and Wildmen page, and it's 77 Bible verses for dads. And we didn't get into the Bible verses and stuff. Obviously, everything we're talking about today, the principles and concepts are biblical. That's where we're coming from. That's our basis, our foundation every time. Even if we don't mention a specific verse, that's what we're talking about. And so we're sharing those things. And I want to put those verses on there so people can look them up. But, the reality is a dad has a key role in the house with his kids, no matter what. And the Bible says, fathers, do not provoke your children to wrath. And we don't want them to lose heart. We don't want them to give up. And so that talks about something interesting. It doesn't say mothers don't provoke your children to wrath. The dad has a special place. This is the key. The dad has a special place that no one else can fill. Not a mom, not somebody else, not an uncle, not a friend. They have a place that they can either frustrate a child or promote them or push them to their destiny. And dads, you have to understand that you have not only that responsibility, but that opportunity in the lives of your kids. And so this is your chance to think about that, to pray about that, and ask God, who would you want me to be for my kids? And start making some changes, and let's do better in our houses. It's easier to sit and say, these kids didn't have dads, but what can we do to help our kids, to be better dads for our kids? And Warriors and Wildmen, we need to be the best dads that we can be. No matter where you've been and what you've done, you can make a change today. You can start today. You can start right now. There's an old saying that says, when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. But the second best time is right now. And so you might say, hey, I missed out on some things. I would have done it different. You can't change that. Change it now. Do what you can do.
Rich, what does the listener need to do if they haven't joined the incredible gang over here at Warriors and Wildmen?
Well, first of all, I can't believe they haven't joined us because, hey, we're just, great guys looking to have some more friends and hang out and do this thing. And so come sign up, be a friend with us on Warriors and Wildmen. We read your comments. We reply to them. We respond to them as much as we can. Go to our podcast, subscribe, rate it, review it. Go to our Facebook page and say, hey, here I am. Rate it and review it because the haters are doing it. Don't let the haters be louder than you. And you can check us out on Spotify too. Warriors and Wildmen.
Do it.